On to another really interesting change that's come about today in law, and that is around the marriage and changes about who is culpable, because around half of marriages do end up in divorce. But up until today, getting divorced has essentially meant you had to assign blame to one party or another, being separated for up to 5 years at first. But now in England and Wales only, no fault divorce is possible, with the biggest change to divorce laws in 50 years. So essentially you can say, well, frankly, it's not their fault and it's not my fault. We just like to break up. Joining me now is Rita Gupta. She is the co-founder and director of her legal firm. Thank you so much indeed for joining us this afternoon. This is a really significant change, isn't it? And it's one that campaigners have been calling for quite a long time.
Absolutely. It is the biggest change in divorce laws, as you stated, for 50 years. And it's something that as family lawyers, we've thought is really important to happen. The divorce laws are archaic, and they are based on a set of rules that are 50 years old. The society's approach to divorce has changed considerably. And what these new laws seek to do is modernise the terminology and essentially try and remove the acrimony from the outset, or some of the acrimony from the outset, by removing this concept of blame, a fault, and having to provide details as to why the marriage broke down.
And why has it been, do you know, historically, that we couldn't just accept that two people wanted to go off and lead different lives, that essentially if you wanted a divorce, someone had to be at fault?
It's a very difficult one. There's been lots of times when family law organisations have wanted to make this change happen, but there's always been the difficulty of balancing the parties' autonomy and wish to separate with upholding the sanctity of marriage. And listening to a lot of the media press releases today, there is a concern that these laws have made the process too easy, and that there will be a huge increase in the divorce rates as a result of that. So upholding the sanctity of marriage has been an issue that people have had to deal with we've had to grapple with. But in no way are these changes meant to undermine the sanctity of marriage or encourage people to go out and get a quickie divorce. In fact, this is not an online quickie divorce process.
Is the time, because I was talking there about 5 years, wasn't I? Is that going to change in terms of like the kind of separated status?
So at the moment, there is now just one ground for divorce, which is that the marriage is irretrievably broken down, and you'll make a statement to that effect. Somebody can make that on their own, or it can be done jointly with the other party. The timeframes now are a minimum 6-month period, and built into that is 20 weeks of reflection time. So if parties want to consider a reconciliation, they can do. Similarly, parties can use that time to work on their financial settlement or make arrangements for their children. You still have to be married for 12 months before you can issue a divorce application. So, as I said, it's not a quickie online divorce.
And just very finally, you touched upon divorce rates there, suggesting you don't think they're going to skyrocket on the back of all of this. But in many ways, it will make divorce potentially easier, or certainly more comfortable for lots of people, won't it? Who frankly remain good friends even after they've broken up, and have never wanted to get involved in an acrimonious battle, in the sense that the current divorce laws almost prompt an acrimonious divorce if you have to blame someone.
I think that there will be a short-term spike, because there have been people who are waiting for this change in the law. So, those people are going to now issue their application. Do I think that this change is going to make lots of people rush out to go and get divorced? No, I don't. I think, the wider ramifications of divorce, like reaching a financial settlement and child arrangements, they are unchanged. And everybody should consider things very carefully before they want to issue a divorce application. I don't think it's going to lead to this huge increase in the divorce rate, no.
Really, really fascinating stuff, Rita. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. That's Rita Gupta there, joining us from Reading this afternoon on that significant change to divorce regulations in England and Wales, though Scotland and I think Northern Ireland are looking at similar measures.